What's up, guys? MainManSWE here, hoping you're all doing awesome as always. And I know we're watching a tournament in the background here versus fighting, but this is actually going to be my review for the Netflix anime series Tekken Bloodline that we watch, of course, because we are very passionate Tekken fans. So the reason I don't have its trailer in the background is because I've been copyright slammed. Every time I've watched one of those trailers, I get copyright nuked. So yeah, watch a tournament instead. And I'm gonna try and keep it spoiler free here at the start. But after a while, I do want to dissect it in decent detail. So it's impossible to talk about it without doing some spoilers. So I'm gonna keep it spoiler free first. And then after a couple of minutes, I'll say spoilers and we'll discuss the whole thing. But in short, I kind of liked it. As expected, it was generic. It's a very standard story. But to be honest, this is a fighting game not known for an amazing story. So that's all it had to be. And I actually thought it was decent. I actually enjoyed it. I'm gonna get into it in the spoiler section, but I thought the weakest episodes were actually... There are 6 episodes, 20 minutes each, and to me the weakest were episode 1 and episode 6. So the very start, beginning, and the very end I thought were the weakest. But episode 2, 3, 4, 5, surprisingly decent. I thought they did a pretty damn good job. So again, the presentation, the visuals. I know this is where everyone talks about the triangle shading. I barely notice it. I thought it was... honestly, I thought the triangles were pretty stylish. I know a lot of people hated them. I didn't mind it at all. I thought the characters looked good. They were well designed. I thought Heihachi looked... fittingly like very intimidating. Of course, he's large as a boss, but I really liked the facial drawings, etc. I liked the art style. I thought it looked good. The sound effects were great. Dialogue was amazing. The voice acting was really good, I thought. But here I watched it in Japanese. I had to watch it in Japanese because when I watched the trailers and they spoke English, I really disliked Jin's voice.
Yeah, come on, yeah, I'm gonna break your face. Challenge accepted.
It just does this super edgy Batman voice. I thought Heihachi's English voice actor sounded more like a snake. It just didn't work. So Heihachi in Japanese, at first you're like, you don't really know where you have him because his voice actor is really good. He's intimidating, but he doesn't sound like, yeah, I'm stab you in the back, yeah. So that stupid giveaway, like, yeah, he's the bad guy, yeah, because he sounds like a backstabbing snake, you know. And of course, the Japanese voice actors, many of them are the original voice actors. I think Jin and Kazuya, you just recognize their voices. Yeah, watch it in Japanese. And then it's kind of weird to hear suddenly Leroy and Paul speak Japanese, but I was like, whatever. I almost wanted to sit there with the remote and anytime Paul speaks, I go English voice actor, but that would be too annoying. But so all of that presentation, I thought it worked really well. And then in terms of a story, it is a retelling of Tekken 3. Thought it worked well. Did what it had to do. I thought it handled Heihachi pretty well. I thought Jin was handled pretty well. All of the characters were handled pretty well. I kind of liked Paul. Paul was not a buffoon moron. Paul was strong, intimidating, and a little bit cool. King was handled really well. And they knew to like, no, don't have him speak in roars. Roar, roar, good fight. He never does that. So King never really communicates. But they still had let King have his moment to shine. Did the same with Paul. I even liked the Xiaoyu stuff. And that's a character I really disliked, but I was like, she wasn't annoying. Oh, Jinru, one day, fate, we will fall in love, blah. We skipped all of that. And Xiaoyu was just quirky, bit goofy, fun classmate of Jin's that also fights. I don't know, handled pretty well. And I also want to mention, and this is honestly one of the biggest sellers, I think, for anyone who's a Tekken fan, fight choreography. I don't even want to say 10 out of 10. For me, it was 11 out of 10. Not only the fact that we're using their attacks from the games, I feel like even the fighting styles themselves were like perfectly represented. Exactly how they fight in the games. That's what they did in this series. The fights were super engaging and fun to watch and so true to the characters. I was like, they really hyped me up with the fights. It was such a treat for someone who's a fan of these characters. So yeah, like on a whole, like very much worth a watch. I don't know if I would recommend it to someone who's not a Tekken fan. It's like someone who's maybe outside. To a Tekken fan, I feel like you really should watch it because they've tried before with multiple movies, live action, and then you had the CG movie, Blood Vengeance, and there's an old animated movie from like '98. There have been some attempts, but this, in my opinion, is easily the best Tekken media out there that's outside, you know, the games. Easily, in my opinion. Like, I think it holds up. It's very solid to the point where even someone who's not a Tekken fan could watch it and still have a good time. Yeah, I don't know. It's like I didn't have high expectations, but it really went beyond, at least for me. Really good. But so now I want to get into some spoilers. So those of you watching on YouTube, you can click away. And those of you watching here on Twitch who don't want to get spoiled, you better mute me now because I'm going to get into some of them. So these are going to be positives and negatives. So first, I just want to say that I really like what they did to Paul. And then they cucked him a bit. I really loved the dialogue. I think it was Nina speaking to... No, Hwoarang speaking to Jin. And I thought they were handled well, Jin and Hwoarang. But Hwoarang says, like, don't be fooled by his hair, referring to Paul. That guy is mad strong. So I like that with Paul, and then he didn't get to lore-wise or canon within the Tekken universe for games is that Paul actually defeats the first version of Ogre, and then Jin steps in to handle True Ogre, so that doesn't happen here. So that's something they removed from Paul, but I didn't expect to get to see that. They wanted to make this Jin story, so that's fine. But still, they handled Paul well. What I did not expect was seeing King beat Paul. And again, I loved how it happened. Like, Paul does a burning fist, a death fist on King, and then King just sort of fucking tanks. He's like, and then he just fucking grabs Paul, muscle busters him, KO, he's out. And I was so surprised, but I was like, I can take it because I loved seeing Xiaoyu beat Nina. They did it so nicely. Xiaoyu's just doing her Art of Phoenix, evading everything. And then just doing her huge flip, landing on Nina's shoulders, kablam, KO. And it's like, could they have done a better job representing Xiaoyu? I thought it was so good. And I'm not a Nina fan. I think she's too edgy. Time to die. So I was like, oh, I loved seeing Xiaoyu beat up on Nina. I loved that. And Leroy was cool. Got smoked by Jin. That was expected. And Yoshimitsu got fuck all. He was a picture only shown on the display and then lost to Anna. To those of you who are Yoshi fans, you were like whacking off to how fucking awesome Yoshi was. But also, where I was like, what the fuck? No Brian Fury? Top 3 in popularity within those who in the player base? Tekken 3, where he joined, and he's not featured? That took me by complete surprise. I was like, what? Didn't get that one. Yeah, and Steve wasn't there. I mean, Eddie wasn't there either. No Eddie Gordo. It's like a lot of fan favorites were like completely left out. So I was like, that was really weird to me. Steve showed up for Lost to Horang. Yeah, but it's not like he was a character, right? And I really liked the fight, Horang versus Jin, really cool. Horang did a just frame skyrocket. And I loved every time Jin was about to KO someone, screen goes white, black and white, and he's spinning around and he's doing the lightning screw uppercut, and you just have this red lightning. And I thought that was really cool, handled well. But again, in terms of big weaknesses of a show, it's not a big weakness, but I didn't really like how June was handled. So she's in episode 1, and she's very stern. Like she's a very stern, strong woman, trying to raise Jin as well as she can. And it's like, okay, this works. But I've always myself depicted June, at least from what we see in like Tekken 2 and her ending, as like, I don't know, maybe has a stern side, but also more of a very loving, caring, joyful side. Or it's more levity, la la la, I don't know. She just seemed very, very stern, where I feel like they should have added more like smiles and stuff, and more of a very joyful, cheerful person. I know a lot of people disagree, probably, but she was a little bit too boring, stern, stiff for me. So yeah, episode 1 didn't start super well for me, but as soon as you get episode 2 and Jin is with Heihachi, it really starts getting interesting. Weakest episode for me was the last episode. It almost, to me, it got ridiculous, the amount of flashbacks you get in the final episode. I mean, seriously, half the fucking episode was flashbacks to episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I feel like half the final episode was rehashed content. I almost went insane, because after the first 3 flashbacks, I was like, okay, now you've done 3 really long flashbacks. That's a lot, but I forgive you. And then there's 7 more of those. I don't know, I thought it was very lazy and stupid. I don't need to see that again. We got the point. We know about this. So it's like, yeah, the last episode felt like there was very little content. But holy hell, are they fans, the people who made this. Not only how everyone fights, choreography, but the last episode, they recreated Jin's Tekken 3 ending, where he gets shot by Heihachi, he's down, goes double Jin, beats up Heihachi, and then when he flies away, they even have a shot of him flying into the sun. Or the moon. Moon or the sun. And it was like, they perfectly recreated that iconic ending. Moon, thanks. And they didn't mind the music too much. I thought it worked well. I loved in the intro how they showed arcade machines. Also a big, like, well, little love letter to the fact that this all started in arcades. I thought that was a neat touch. Yeah, is there anything else I want to say about the show? It's a little bit short, felt a little bit rushed at times, but there's only so much you can do with 6 20-minute episodes. Like, if you want to be completely honest, this could have been a movie, like a 2.5 hour movie. But oh well. I guess, Too Little Kazuya. Anytime Kazuya was there, I was like, this is epic. He has his Japanese voice actor.
Oh my god.
I just love his voice. He's very intimidating. But there was very little of him. He was featured in just a few brief glimpses lasting all but, 5 to 10 seconds a few times. So I would have loved more Kazuya. So I really hope if they could give us like a season 2 with Tekken 4, that would be amazing. But I'm guessing this is going to be a standalone unless it does super well. But yeah, I think this is all we're going to get. You got to love that combo, by the way. So, yeah, I gotta say, overall, I'm positively surprised. Is it a masterpiece? No. Is it super good? No. But is it very, very decent and even good for what it is and what it's supposed to be? Yeah, it is. I mean, it's 10 times better than the story mode you got in Tekken 7. So yeah, if you're someone who watches my content, that probably means you're a Tekken fan, and in my opinion, you should certainly give Bloodline a watch. But don't expect, 10 out of 10 storytelling, but it's a very entertaining show for someone who's a Tekken fan. So that's my review, and I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day.